Hello everyone, welcome back to Motorsport Madness. My name is Jack, and a couple of weeks ago I asked you guys to send me some questions for an upcoming Q&A video, which is this video, and in this video we are going to go through them, and yeah, let's do that. Wow, first here, as first question, how are you? I'm okay. It's been a bit of a rough few weeks, you know. I've been a bit down, a bit demotivated, but I'm here today and I'm feeling quite okay. Sun's out, kind of, but for the first time in what seems like months, I'm actually in this flat without wearing 50 layers of clothing just to keep warm. But yes, I'm okay. How are you guys? Who is your favourite F1 driver of all time? Now, that's a pretty difficult question, but I think I'm going to have to move and look up to the poster I have on that wall and say Ayrton Senna. I think he's just simply the best. Of course, there are many other fantastic drivers in the history of F1, but for me, he just stands out above the rest, and never fails to amaze me watching him drive. Obviously, I was never around when he was around, but it's still great to look back on what he did for the sport. Who are you rooting for in the 2025 season? For me, it's Lando and Charles. Well, the other day, yesterday even, we had the conclusion to F1 testing, and it all seems to be looking like it's going to be an exciting year, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. I'm not necessarily rooting for any particular driver per se. I'm just really looking forward to an exciting battle. That's what I want. A good fight. That's what I want. And yeah, thoroughly looking forward to the opening round, which is in 2 weeks' time in Australia. That is what I'm looking forward to. Just a good season of racing. That's what I want to see. And I think that's what we all want to see. I think we're going to get it. Do you follow other motorsports outside of F1? I think somebody else actually asked a very similar question. Yes, we did. Do you follow IMSA at all? And the answer to those questions is yes and yes. IMSA in particular, I do like watching because over here it's streamlined on YouTube. But even though the broadcast is not quite the same as what you would get in the US, it's still something, good to watch. And WEC as well, even though WEC is now not on Eurosport for us in the UK, so we have to use the app or TNT Sports, which is a bit of an arse. But yeah, WEC in particular, yesterday we had the Qatar opening round. For me, myself, I am a bit of a Cadillac fan. In fact, hang on a minute. I have here a little model of the V Series R. I don't know if you can sort of see that. Normally I get models in 1/43rd scale, but they are very expensive. You're going to focus on that or what? You see that all right? Can you? Being a Cadillac fan in WEC is just painful, as displayed yesterday. And the Valkyrie is also a very impressive machine. I could go on and talk about WEC all day and tell you how good of a racing series it is. In answer to the question, yes, WEC, IMSA. Do watch IndyCar as well. Got the GT World Challenge, which I also watch, and any other sort of junior category that appears on YouTube, I'll also give it a watch as well. But yeah, the main ones for me is Formula 1 and WEC. IndyCar, I don't really go out my way to watch that much, but a lot of time on a Sunday night, I'll sit here and watch a race. But if I've got to go to bed for work the next day, I won't stay around for the end. I'll just go to bed. But the Indy 500 is one of the highlights of the year for me. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. See, the problem for me, I'll just go on and on and on. I need to sort of have a sign up saying, shut up. In your opinion, what is the luckiest escape of any driver? If we talk about F1, I feel like Grosjean's accident at Bahrain in 2020 in F1 terms is a very lucky escape. I've managed to actually see the remains of that car and just think to myself, how on earth did you survive that? But it's a testament to the evolution of safety in Formula 1, isn't it? And there's been plenty of others in Formula 1. It'd be impossible for me to sit here and talk about them all. That's why there's a documentary series out. Go watch. But I think of any driver, it has to be Alex Zanardi for me. What happened in 2001 at the American Memorial Race after the events of 9/11, it was just such a horrific accident, one which I don't think we'll ever see repeated. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up, and you see why. If you could bring back one F1 team that isn't around anymore, which would it be, and who would you choose to be the drivers and team principals? The first name that comes to mind is probably Lotus. I think that is a brand that is absolutely criminal that isn't in F1 at the moment. Hasn't been really since the 90s. We had two Lotus brands in the 2010s, but they weren't really the original Lotus. I'm talking about the classic team Lotus. And I think from what they've achieved, what drivers they had at their disposal over their 30 years being in the sport, I think it's really such a shame that they're not in Formula 1 right now. So yeah, if I had to pick any other name, it has to be them. In terms of drivers and team principals, I have no idea. There's a pool of hundreds of thousands of people to pick from, impossible. But I think team principal, I think this guy. I'll do it. I will do it. Gentlemen, a short view back to the past. I am not saying the entire thing. Seriously now, is there any particular driver or drivers that you're a fan of? Do you have a favourite season or favourite race? Favourite season, I'm not too sure. I'll start with the season. I think probably, I'm sort of thinking to sort of replayability. Like I can happily rewatch it on TV. Probably maybe 2012 V8s, maybe 2011, something from the 90s. Yeah, I'll say 2012. I think, yeah, it just had a lot going on for it and a very competitive season. Something which I hope is repeated in 2025. Favourite race? There I'll have to say Hockenheim 2000 German Grand Prix, where Rubens Barrichello won his first race for Ferrari, which I actually showed at the beginning of episode 4, because it's just such a beautiful moment. But yeah, Hockenheim, old school Hockenheim, the proper Hockenheim, V10s, it just had everything, didn't it? And in terms of drivers, yeah, there's quite a few. I do like Charles, if we're talking Formula 1, Charles, Lando. I do like Ollie Behrman, I think he's a really nice chap. Sorry, I'm just trying to think who else is in Formula 1. My brain's just left me and gone over there. But yeah, there's a sort of standout drivers for me, but also controversially, Max Verstappen. I know, I can hear you typing now, but I do like his aggressive style. I know sometimes he can go a bit overboard, but for me, I do like an aggressive driver, like even for me in sim racing. But aggression is kind of a word which has a different meaning in Formula 1. You could be aggressive in football, and you can be sort of, it's not really liked. But in Formula 1 terms, or in racing terms, aggression is kind of well received. So I think a lot of the hate that Max gets is quite simply just, it's not necessary. I mentioned it in the ending of episode 4 that when I see people hating on Hamilton or Verstappen for no reason, it's just really unnecessary. Like, come on now, this is Formula 1, this ain't football. And when I saw people booing him at the F1 75 event, that really wound me up a little bit, I must admit, because again, this isn't football. Just because they've won a few races and created boring seasons, it's just no need for it. It really is. It's just childish. It really is just childish. I hate it. I can go on about it all day, but yeah, I'll stand by it. I do like Max Verstappen. And I was actually really happy to see him at Goodwood last year. He drove past me a couple of times, where you can see the photos up now. In fact, you can see my entire collection from that event at my Flickr page, link in the description. Please go and have a look, please. I also do like Colton Herta as well. I like to see him in Formula 1. And when I'm watching IndyCar, that's the driver I'm sort of looking for. And he's a metalhead, so we share the same hobbies. I haven't really got any particular drivers that I like in WEC either, but again, like I've mentioned, I do like Cadillac, so anyone who's driving a Cadillac is good enough for me, which is handy because Cadillac at the moment are being used in the Jota team, which is a local team for me. They're only 30 miles away, still causing pain. Also the Valkyrie, that Valkyrie just sounded amazing. But yeah, I'm going on too much again, but yes, I think I've said everything I need to do. What do you think of V8 supercars? I don't watch it. I know of its existence, but because of the time difference between here and Australia, it's just not something that I don't think I can ever get into. So yeah, apologies, but I do know of its existence. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a bad series, it's boring, whatever. It's just something I don't watch or follow. Also, did you commit those crimes back in 01? I don't know what this is referring to because I was 4 in 2001. Probably stole a couple of biscuits from the biscuit jar. Probably kicked the football over the fence into the neighbour. That's probably it. I don't know. I was 4 years old. Any chance you do a series on horrific accidents within USAC, kart, champ car, and IndyCar? Yes, definitely. I think I will cover sort of the main sort of racing series eventually. Just again, give me time. Be patient. I'll get there eventually. But yes, IndyCar is one of those things which will be covered at some point. But one of the difficulties is unless you can direct me in the right places in terms of research and finding footage, it will be a lot harder. Whilst with F1, it was quite easy to rewatch pretty much every race there is to watch. So yeah, that'll be difficult, but yeah, it will happen one day. In your opinion, what's the best drive from a racer in F1? I immediately think about Fangio, Nürburgring, 1957, where he kept breaking the lap record every single lap when he went to chase the lead in that race. Others I think about Jackie Stewart, again, Nürburgring 1968 stands out. Also, maybe if you think more modern-ish, Senna at Interlagos in 1991. There's a lot. There's a lot to choose from. I'll leave that up to you. What editing software do you use? Since if CapCut does get fully banned, I want an alternative. I use Wondershare Filmora. I actually use an older version because at one point they tried to charge me more for updating it, which I didn't do, so I'm still using an older version. But it's good enough for me. I consider it sort of a midway point between CapCut and something like Adobe. So it's in the middle and it does everything I want. Maybe eventually I'll move on to Adobe in the future, but right now my finances can't really justify that right now. So yeah, Wondershare. And how do you find inspiration for your videos? Inspiration came from quite a few different avenues for this particular documentary series. One of the main ones was, I remember coming across certain content on YouTube which described itself as a documentary, but they'd be 15 minutes long. They'd only focus on the crash, nothing about the people, and as soon as you click on the video, you'd be getting, your eardrums burst from how loud the narrator was, and they'd be there like, whoa, these are really cool crashes, you want to stay to the end to see what happens, and it's just like, is this really the best what we are getting as motorsport fans on YouTube? And I was like, right, I'm gonna make a documentary on this subject, but done in a way which I would like to be seen done, and I'm sure a lot of fans would like to see it done, and of course friends and family of the people involved would like to see it done. And I think it's worked out pretty well, a lot better than I expected. But I will talk about that more in another upcoming video I want to do, where I'll do a making of video where I talk about what creative things went on behind the scenes whilst creating F1's most horrific crashes, and it's sure to be an interesting video. I don't think loads of you will watch it. Maybe you're not that interested in what happens behind the scenes, but maybe a couple of you might be. And I like talking about it. So yeah, look out for that maybe a couple of weeks' time. Nothing to ask, just a big praise and appreciation on your productions. Much love. Thank you very much. And I'd like to just thank all of you for your amazing comments at the end of episode 4. I really was not expecting that much level of support from you guys. You are really just such an amazing audience, and I'm very lucky to have you all. Honestly, hope one day I get to repay you for your support. So yeah, thank you very much. What was your research I'll start again. What was your research process for the crash videos, and how much of the info did you already know? I already knew a fair amount, but it's always good just to sort of refresh your mind and research things again and again and again. But there was a lot of things that helped me learn about different things for the writing part of the video. But there was a lot of research done by myself, probably to the point where I'd say I may have done too much research. Where, you know, I would just be like just spending all my time, even when I'll be at work, I'll be sort of looking up something on my phone briefly, or always thinking in my head about how I'm going to construct these sentences or paragraphs or stuff like that. It was such a big process, and when I'm researching things, I don't necessarily just read one article. I read multiple from different sources to make sure everything that I'm saying is 100% correct. Sometimes something might slip through the cracks, but yeah, I did so much of that, and stuff from Motorsport magazine, Autosport, F1. I've been listening to podcasts, watching interviews, reading books, watching other documentaries and videos, just to learn as much as I can, every bit of relevant information, so then you guys know exactly what's happening in front of you. And it worked out in the end, but it was such a tiring process. But one that will continue for future documentaries. I'm going to approach every single one with the same amount of effort. I really hope what I'm saying is answering these questions. What do you think of the golden age of Formula 1? I assume that question is, when do you think it was? I probably say the late 90s, early 2000s, V10s, etc. It was just an awesome time, and I wish I was old enough to have watched it live. Which pay driver do you think is the greatest amongst them? I don't really know too much, really. It's not pay drivers, it's not really been something I talk about often, so I don't really know. If 1982 never happened between Gilles and Pironi, who do you think would have been world champion? I have to say probably Gilles that year, but I also think that Pironi would have eventually become a world champion at some point. But yeah, if we're talking 1982, I think Gilles probably would have had it. Also, would Senna become world champion in 94 if the Imola accident didn't occur? Probably not. I think the Benetton of that year was just too fast, and the development of the FW16 came a bit too late to really mount much of a challenge. I know it came to the final day anyway, but that might not have happened if Senna was still around to fight Schumacher. But yeah, probably not that year, but maybe in the following years as well. Finally, if Gasho did not do Gasho things, would we still have Schumacher? Probably, because at the time he was driving for Sauber Mercedes in the World Sports Car Championship, and since Sauber eventually joined Formula 1 in 93, I think he probably would have been signed up with them for Formula 1, and people already knew who Schumacher was even before he got into F1, so it was just a matter of time, and well, we know the rest. Who is your favourite driver from any era? I think this is quite similar to a previous question, but from any era, that's a really difficult question. There are so many, but I don't. Obviously, I said Senna earlier, but from any era and any driver, any driver from any era, that is a very difficult question. But there's many that I really, really like, but there's no really defining favourite out of the lot. But one of them is going to be covered in an upcoming video, one that might be coming out very soon. Hint. I'd like to give a massive congratulations on the hard work you've done for thus far. Thank you very much. What was the first race you've ever watched? The first race that I actually watched where, I set aside my time to watch the race and actually sat down and watched it and appreciated it for what it was the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix. That was it. That was the first one. And I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. So at the time I was living at my mate's house who was going through a bit of a rough time. So I moved in with him just to help him get back on his feet, which he is now, thankfully. Just in case you're wondering, he's doing well for himself now. But yes, he was a massive Formula 1 fan and still is. And I was massively into football. We would have arguments almost every day as to which is better. And then one day I said to him, okay, I'll give you a chance. I'll sit down and watch the next race. And we ended up watching the highlights for the Spanish Grand Prix. And he said to me, that's not really, it wasn't really a great race. So, sit down and watch the next one live. I'm like, okay, where is it? Monaco. That sounds familiar. And he told me it was a street circuit. And I remember my little brain at the time just couldn't comprehend Formula 1 cars on the street. Are you mental? That sounds amazing. And it wasn't the most interesting of races again, but I just really enjoyed it. And from then on, I've watched every single race there's been, and watched every single race there's been in the past, and now look. So, to my friend, his name is Craig, I hate you. Look what you've got me into. Have you been to any motorsport events or races, and which ones would you recommend? I've only been to two, but I've been to two a few times. The first one is the Goodwood Festival Speed, and I've been to every year since 2021. I'm going again this year. I'm going for 2 days as usual because one day just isn't enough to, enjoy the whole event. Also, the Brands Hatch Masters Historic Festival is always fun. There you see F1 cars of the late 70s and early 80s racing around Brands Hatch, which is always amazing. Just sitting at the bottom of Pilgrim's Drop and seeing F1 cars go past you. 4 Cosworth engines at nearly 160 miles an hour. It's just an amazing experience. And they do travel across the world. So please do go and buy a ticket. It's like 20 quid and you get to spend a whole day, and they do other historical racing as well. But I'll kind of flip your question a little bit and say what races I would like to go to and what I might be going to. I was hoping to go to a wet race this year, and I was talking with a group of friends whether to go to the 6 Hours of Spa this year, but I think it's just not viable for any of us to really go, so that's on hold. Le Mans is also another one which we are all really wanting to go to. It's just a case of finding money. Because for me, I just haven't got any money. I also want to go to a GT World Challenge race again at Brands Hatch. That might be one I'll get to go to this year. But there is, and this is something that's come up in the last couple of weeks, but there is a very good chance, all but confirmed, for me to be going to a Grand Prix this year. Yes, I'm not going to say which one, but it was completely unexpected. And yeah, so that might not happen, but if it is, then it's going to be an incredible experience, one that I'll treasure for the rest of my life. Hopefully soon I get to go to more races, but yeah, Goodwood and the Masters Historic Festival, always recommend, always a fantastic event. I want to ask where you find footage for your videos, for example the Roland Ratzenberger phone commercial. I think you're referring to the episode 2 ending, where you saw Roland Ratzenberger answer the phone in his car. That's actually not a phone commercial. That clip came from a children's TV show from the UK called Roland Rat, or something along those lines. But the character is Roland Rat, and I remember reading about it, and they found this racing driver who had the similar name to the main character of the show, which was Roland Ratzenberger, and they got him on the show, and they did this whole sort of this race together, and they would sabotage Roland's car, so then the main character, Roland Rat, would win that race in typically sort of child-friendly humour kind of thing. So it's quite interesting to see that, and that's where that comes from.
You're trying to slow me up. You cheat, Mr. Rat.
How dare you! I would never consider such a thing. We're off, boys. Yee.
And yeah, but back onto the question. A lot of it came from F1 TV, but also numerous other documentaries and from other broadcasters as well. It's also worth noting that none of F1's most horrific crashes is monetized, and that's through choice rather than just, I'd upload it and they've demonetized it. So yeah, I haven't earned any money from these videos, and I've fully credited the copyright owners of the footage in the videos. But yes, the mainly Formula One footage, but also many other news agencies and other copyright holders, stuff like that. There's a lot in the end, but yeah, mainly F1 TV. Could Ayrton Senna, Niki Lauda, Max Verstappen, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Gilles Villeneuve, or Jacques Villeneuve beat Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Sr. or Dale Earnhardt Jr.? I don't know. NASCAR and F1 are two very, very different things. You can't really compare the two. So I really don't know. First, I want to thank you because I think you have created the most amazing community of F1 fans and F1 history enjoyers. Thank you very much. I hope I am, and I like to continue trying to build this really nice community because it is, and that's down to you, so thank you. My question is, what is your opinion on the Beyond the Limits podcast of F1 and Tom Clarkson, positive and negative, and who would you want to see it on it soon? I think it's called Beyond the Grid, isn't it? Beyond the Grid? Oh well, I could be wrong. But yeah, I do listen to that from time to time. It's good to get information from people you were talking about. I remember the episode with Martin Donnelly was particularly useful in the research process for that segment. So yeah, when you have the older drivers on it, it's pretty interesting hearing their stories from days gone by. But I think for me, the one reason why I don't listen to it, it can be quite boring to listen to, because for me, I always like to hear personal stories from drivers. I think that's a lot of what fuels F1's most horrific crashes. So when they're just talking about facts and figures, it can be a bit boring, which is a bit of a shame, and that's why I listen to both Beyond the Grid and Formula for Success, which is hosted by David Coulthard and Eddie Jordan, and that brings a bit of fun and a bit of rock and roll into old driver stories, particularly the one where they interviewed Gerhard Berger. I thought that was just a really funny podcast, and the interview that they had with him, brilliant. So yeah, there's a healthy balance between the two, but I think right now I listen to FFS more often than I do Beyond the Grid. In terms of who I want to see on it, I really don't know, to be honest. There's a lot of people who are not around today who I've featured in F1's most horrific crashes, who I would love to hear their stories, and it's a big shame. So maybe people who knew these drivers from days gone by, maybe people who worked with them and maybe friends with them or something, and talk about them. I'll give a good example. They did a podcast about Jochen Rindt, and they had Jackie Stewart on there talking about him. They had Helmut Marko, and I think Bernie Eccleston as well, talking about him and talking about personal stories and stuff, and that was really, really nice. So it'd be nice to see, I don't know, a Tom Price episode and everyone who knew him gets on and talks about him. That would be really nice, because there isn't really any interviews with him or any conversations with anyone who knew him talking about that. And that's actually something I would like to bring onto this channel, is talking to people who knew these people and talk about them. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, beyond the grid, I would recommend it, but be warned, it can be quite boring sometimes. I know you've said you have a full-time job. I'm just wondering that if you were to calculate the hours you spent on, say, episode 4, from research to the actual upload, how many would there be? It's been a good series, so thank you for the hours you put in. Well, thank you. And it was probably hundreds of hours put into the entire process of making this series. Probably thousands actually. Because yeah, I would quite often come back from work after a 9-hour day, sit here, work on a video for another 4 or 5 hours, have an hour or two just to chill, and then go to bed, and then repeat. And by the end of episode 4, I was so run down. And right now I'm taking a bit of an extended break just to recharge my batteries, which is finally working because I was ill for about 3 weeks after episode 4. In fact, I remember uploading episode 4 and being absolutely dead. I had to get out of bed, start the upload, go back to bed. A couple of hours later, that would be finished, and then do the same for part 2. It was horrible. So many hours, and I'm not going to sit here and calculate it. I will apologise. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to calculate it, but it's probably very, very good chances in the hundreds. And that's the end of the questions. I'd just like to finish this off with just briefly talking about the future. Right now, I am pretty much starting the next video. The next video should be out maybe in May, so not long at all, just a couple of months. There is something that's going on in the background which I'm not going to talk about, and something which I've classified as a black project, so totally top secret. Nobody knows, not even the Patreon members know. There's something that's happening which I'm hoping will come to fruition. There's a good chance it will. I just would love to do it, and it's always been a want for me. I've always wanted to do something like this. So yeah, we will see. Also, I was thinking about possibly remastering episode 1. Remastering, I mean replace the narration with a new one. Also redo the intro, because the intro for me is just horrendous. And also add more segments in it, ones which didn't find a home on the rest of the series. So yeah, look out for that. And expect another 3, maybe 4 more videos to come from me. I'm also wanting to do more short form videos. What I mean by short form, I mean do more videos like this, talking to you about certain subjects, just to sort of act as a filler videos between each upload, because it can be a while, and I can only apologise for that. So yeah, I'm looking at doing more. I came up with an idea of maybe doing a sort of a fun Assetto Corsa idea, where I let Assetto Corsa randomise what car and track it's going to give me, and just have to suffer with the consequences of those random generations. And I think it'd be quite fun to see. I've already tested it out, and there was one time where it gave me a Porsche 917K on a rally stage. So yeah, I think that might be a fun idea. I don't know, let me know. And also just, yeah, please let me know any ideas. I really want to hear from you, what you would like to see from me. There's also maybe a few other changes coming on this channel in the next few months. Don't worry, they're all good, and it's all stuff that will really help this channel grow, and also be able to give you something back from your support. So yeah, look out for some of those. And I think I'm going to end this video here before I go off on another monologue and talk stuff that I want to talk about in the next video. So like I said, I want to do a video where I cover a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that happened during F1's most horrific crashes creation. So yeah, if you want to see that, let me know. And like I said, please let me know of any ideas or video stuff that you want to see from me that is not documentaries. There's a lot of things that I want to do on this channel, but right now my hands are tied just due to finances and work and so many things holding me back. Just so eager to get on with all these things I've got planned. And hopefully this year can be a really, really good one, not just for me, but for you and for this channel. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for sending in your questions, and I hope I've answered them in a way that you actually understand. A lot of time I don't understand any word that I'm saying, let alone what what you think. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe as well if you are new. And yeah, check out F1's Most Horrific Crashes. Check out some of the sim racing content as well if you really want to laugh at someone who can't drive. And until next time, guys, take care. Stay safe out there. It's a funny old world at the moment. And yeah, stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.